Waking up in your own private yurt in Humpy Cove, you don't want to get out of bed. But breakfast sounds good. And of course, this is Alaska, so you don't just eat breakfast, you catch breakfast. And when you try to catch breakfast in Humpy Cove, you get a lot more than just a nice, quiet fishing trip.
There's some porpoises over here, check it out.
Susan and Dennis had told me that oftentimes families of porpoises will come into the cove early in the morning to catch breakfast porpoise style. And there's lots of small fish fry in this cove, so it's got to be a virtual smorgasbord for the porpoises. Or is it porpie? Porpy? I don't know. What I do know is that my fishing line is about as quiet as Humpy Cove this morning. Well, that's unless you're in the mood for some jellyfish or some fish fry.
If you're in the jellyfish market, it's a boom. If you're in the little guy market, it's a boom. If you're in the catch it and eat it, it's a bust.
So I make my graceful return home. Or not so graceful. I pulled my boat up to the dock. And put my brain power to work.
A great fisherman catches fish, but a smart fisherman knows to keep some leftovers from the night before.
I'm going to make up my own version of fish fry. I'm not the best cook, but I can do a salmon scramble with juice and coffee any day of the week.
High five.
And the backdrop for my breakfast will be provided by a power much larger than myself. After breakfast came the sad conclusion that I had seen coming, but it didn't make it any easier to accept.
Good morning. Morning.
My begrudging departure from the solitude of Humpy Cove was inevitable. The only thing that made the departure tolerable was knowing I was about to trade in my yurt and my kayak for Horseback. And I love horses. This is Bree Bartison. She's the sole proprietor, CEO, secretary, and phone answerer for Barty's Trail Rides. Bree was recently featured in the 10 Places to Go Horse Riding in USA Today, which has her horses flipping out, or just standing up and snorting. As we took off, Bree asked about my yurt adventure.
Oh, it was awesome.
While my horse Lamore took every opportunity to try to find something to eat.
Hey, where are you going? Come on.
But every step of the way, Lamore was kept in check by our canine companion guide, Gunny. Soon, Lamore and I, and Bree and Gunny, were heading into what remains of Old Seward after the 1964 quake.
Wow.
And I got a few lessons about what it's like to try to shoot your own video blog from on top of a horse.
Yeah, that was the first company I worked for when
The Good Friday earthquake is one of the largest ever recorded, and 80% of the deaths from the event came from the ensuing tsunamis.
Wow.
And these are some old cars that were thrown here by the tidal wave in 1964 and have never moved.
Huh. Whew.
If you're into rebuilding classic cars, there's a couple of beautiful fixer-uppers here for you. Meanwhile, back on the trail, I'm still trying to find ways to capture video while sitting on horseback, but the views make the struggle all worthwhile. And sometimes that struggle makes for interesting video. What came next was a sobering reality check about the strength of tsunamis.
So this building was built in 1917. It was used as a communications center in World War II.
This cement bunker is the only thing left standing on this side of the bay after the tsunami hit the Seward area.
This was the only one to survive the quake?
On this side of the bay.
On this side of the bay, wow.
The interesting twist is that the Good Friday earthquake decimated Resurrection Bay, which got its name after it provided shelter for a Russian captain in a storm that raged until Easter morning. People were literally forced to ride out the tsunami waves on top of their homes. And when an oil storage facility was wiped out, Resurrection Bay literally caught fire. But the evidence of that event has mostly been covered over by fresh water and new vegetation. And any evidence of my ability to operate a camera have been wiped out as well.
5,000.
Though we didn't see any on this day, Bree tells me a lot of the people that travel the world over to do this ride come for the eagles.
Jeez.
The babies are so fun to watch. They're in here every year, and they're full grown in 6 weeks, so it's absolutely amazing to watch them grow. And they're all also kicked out of the nest at that point. So a lot of times we'll ride through here, and the babies are on the ground here trying to figure out how to get out of the grass because they don't know how to work that 6-foot wingspan yet.
A lot of Alaskans don't think about seeing Alaska on horseback, but after 2 rides in the last year, I'll tell you, you're missing out. But Gunny isn't missing a thing.
Good job, Gunny.
And you won't want to either, considering you get a 2-hour horse ride for about $85. This is a side of Resurrection Bay that more tourists have seen than locals, and in this case, I think the locals need to take a clue from the tourists. This weekend has provided me with 2 different ways of seeing the Seward area that most people never think of.
That's a good boy.
And I want to snort it from the mountaintop. And though I really don't want to, it's time to pull the reins on my adventures.
Ooh, good job, good job.
How was your ride, Bree? That was good.
Both by land and by sea, Resurrection Bay has once again failed to disappoint.
All right, well, that'll do it for another successful GoToAK.com trip to Seward. Now, maybe instead of always thinking about sea life centering or glacier cruising when you come here, you might henceforth think about horseback riding and/or yurting.
Come on, everybody, open up your mind. What you do not seek, you shall not find. Never be afraid to open your heart and see it. Believe, free it. Come on, everybody, just let yourself go. You're fooling yourself if you think you're